pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our town board meeting. It is May 23rd, 2023. First thing on our agenda tonight is a presentation on behalf of Toll Brothers, petition for zoning text and map amendment. You're on.
Good evening, Mr. Supervisor and members of the town board and council. Brad Schwartz from Zarin and Steinmetz on behalf of Toll Brothers, joined by Jack Lyman, Kevin Moses from Toll, Jim Scaris from JMC, and my associate Casey Brenner. David Steinmetz is literally on a plane down to Florida to visit his mom, who turns 90 tomorrow, so he wanted to say hello to all of you and explain why he's not here this evening. So I'm happy to pinch hit his absence. So where would you like me to stay, Mr. Supervisor?
If you need, you want to use the mic there. Can you still, you can
can't
take,
see the screen though, right?
that's right.
You can move it.
That's okay.
There you go.
We've seen the project.
Direct to you or direct to the audience?
Oh, I think the audience.
I think, yeah,
The audience?
yeah.
You can hold the mic in your hand.
I'll do that, that's great. Yep. Cool. On? All right, so good evening, everyone. This is a presentation tonight on the project known as Kensico Preserve, previously pursued by Baker and now being pursued by Toll Brothers as the contract vendee for this approximately 168.5 acre parcel. I'm pleased to announce right at the start that with the encouragement of the town, this is now an age-restricted project that would generate no school children. So that's been a change in the program, and that's a wonderful addition to the project. I guess, Kevin, if you want to move to the first slide. So the program consists of 162 age-restricted townhomes, 3 bedrooms each, a fully amenitized, active adult community. Again, I mentioned no school children as a result of the age restriction. It will result in positive fiscal benefits to both the town and the school on an annual basis. With respect to the school in particular, just shy of $2 million in net tax revenues, again, on an annual basis. As in the Baker project, there would be 18 acres dedicated to the town for municipal purposes, together with all the infrastructure improvements that were also proposed under Baker, including the new sidewalk along Westlake Drive and the upgraded water distribution system. As we'll show you all in a couple of slides, the impacts to the environment under the proposed project by Toll Brothers is less impactful than what was already studied and approved under the prior Baker project. And so for seeker purposes, we're going to demonstrate that this project will not result in any adverse environmental impacts. I think Jack will give a brief overview on Toll Brothers just to identify who the applicant is and give a little bit of background about Toll.
Sure. Jack Landman with Toll Brothers. So Toll Brothers is a national home builder. We do build in over 60 markets in 24 different states. We're a Fortune 500 company with a market cap of around $7 billion. And the reason I state this is just to make it clear that we have the experience in projects like this. We have the financial resources to finish what we start, to deliver on all of our promises. And we're very excited to be in this town.
So why are we here? Right, we're before the town board. The Baker project sought approvals only from the planning board. But before the town board because the project requires a rezoning, both a map change as well as a text change. So the applicant is asking the town board to rezone a portion of this overall property from the existing OB1 district to R3A. The only portion of the property that would be rezoned is what's going to be developed. The parcels that would be dedicated to the town, as well as transferred to DEP, would not be rezoned. So altogether, about 96 acres would be rezoned from OB1 to R3A. Baker didn't need a rezoning because in the OB1 district, residential single-family lots were permitted, but multifamily, which is the product being proposed now, is not allowed in the OB1, so we're seeking the zoning change to R3A. There are also 2 minor text amendments, zoning text amendments. The first one is to allow 2 garage spaces per townhome instead of 1, and to allow a separation distance between buildings of 25 feet instead of 70 feet. All other zoning requirements in the underlying R3A district would remain the same. So 2 minor text changes, again, to allow 2 garage spaces and to shorten the distance between main buildings. We submitted a zoning petition to the town board. The front page of the petition is what you see on the left-hand side of the screen. As explained in that zoning petition, this proposed zone change would be consistent with the town's newly enacted comp plan from last year. Most fundamentally, it would offer new housing product in a town that consists mostly of single-family lots and would afford housing product geared towards seniors. In addition to the town board, this project would also require approvals from the planning board, both amended subdivision approvals that were granted in connection with the Baker project, site plan for the multifamily, as well as amended wetlands and steep slope permits. So to take a step back a few years, the Baker project, which again was the prior configuration of this project, went through a full seeker EIS process before the planning board. The planning board studied and approved 116 single-family lots and granted preliminary subdivision approval for 116 lots. Again, went through the full seeker process, and the planning board found that 116 lots could be built, developed, without causing adverse environmental impacts. The planning board also approved an alternative called the DEP alternative. That alternative consisted of 75 lots, 73 of which would be developable as single-family homes, and then 2 larger parcels would be transferred to DEP for its protection purposes. Those 2 larger DEP parcels comprised 43 of the lots that were approved as part of Baker. But rather than developing those 43 lots, those 2 parcels would be transferred to DEP. So again, planning board approved and studied 116 lots. When Toll Brothers took over the project and became contract vendor of the property, Toll Brothers was careful to make sure that the project was laid out in such a way that would not cause new disturbance areas. What you see on the screen here, the green line is the perimeter of the disturbance. That would be, it's really the limit of disturbance for the Toll Brothers project. The red line is the limit of disturbance for the Baker project. And what this shows is that the Toll Brothers project would result in about 3.3 acres less of total disturbance than what the Baker project would have caused. So, but the general point is, same area of disturbance on the most level part of the property. So for secret purposes, our role, our job, is to demonstrate to the town that the Toll Brothers project would not result in any new adverse environmental impacts that were not already studied and approved as part of the Baker project. So JMC prepared a technical memorandum that compares the impacts of the Toll Brothers proposal to the Baker proposal. And the point of analysis was the 116 lots that was previously approved. So it was looking at the impacts from the proposed 162 age-restricted townhomes compared to the 116 single-family lots. We went through each of the individual impact areas that were previously studied under Baker: stormwater, fiscal, utilities, disturbance, tree removal. In every single area, what you're going to see is that the impact is either the same or a lesser impact. The only 2 areas where the numbers went up was sewer and water, but it's not really an impact, it's just an increase in numeric demand for sewer and water. Why? Because there's more people as part of this project, but there's the capacity to provide the sewer and water. So even though there's greater demand, there's the ability to serve the project. The next slide is just a chart showing those impacts and how we conclude that the Baker project was more impactful than Toll. The cells in green, again, show less impacts. White is equal to, and the red is sewer and water again, which shows just numerically the demand is higher, but again, no impact because the sewer and water have the capacity. And then in terms of net tax surplus, again, to the school, just on 2.2 million annual. I'm sorry, that's not just the school, that's total combined school and town, 2.3 million in annual net tax surplus per year, and again, no school children. I think the next slide, Kevin, if you want to show some of the architecturals and renderings of the townhomes.
Yeah, no problem. So the two left-hand columns are indicative of the Baker developments. The leftmost column is what was studied during SECRA and what Toll on the right-hand column is compared to. That middle column is what Brad referred to as the New York City Department of Environmental Protection acquisition plan, right, which was ultimately granted for site plan and subdivision approval. Essentially, everything in green in column 3 as compared to column 1 is less impactful. Anything in white is equal to or net, and anything in red, just those two cells for sewer and water, represents a quote-unquote higher impact, and as Brad said, that's really just numerically based on bedroom count. We do have will serve letters that were issued from the town engineer, as Brad had alluded to, generally meaning that there is capacity in the system for this type of development. No problem. So speaking to the development, as Brad had mentioned, this is a fully amenitized, age-restricted community composed of townhomes in 3 and 4 unit clusters. They are 2.5 stories, 3 bedrooms, ranging from 2,400 square feet to 2,800 square feet. These will all be offered with mastered down layouts, which is generally in line with the targeted demographic. People really at that age want to have a first floor living situation, avoid up and down where possible. We've also committed to offer a percentage of smaller units throughout the site at different locations from 1,800 to 2,200 square feet. These would come at a lower price point in select locations where, if selected by the purchaser, is what we would build. Again, fully amenitized. We wanted to, in whatever way possible, create less impact for the town. And in doing so, we know that seniors generally have a lower draw on recreational assets within a town than does, say, single-family homes filled with children and people of younger ages. But notwithstanding, we've amenitized the community with a clubhouse, pool, bocce courts, pickleball, and a community garden. So this will be a very, very desirable active adult community where we believe many of the residents will be recreating on-site rather than off-site. It would also come with a condominium structure, again, in line with that targeted demographic, people downsizing, not wanting to be taking care of lawns and maintenance, et cetera. So the condominium structure is, again, very in line with the targeted demographic. There would be a condo and master HOA that would maintain roads, landscaping, et cetera. That really
Yeah, I think that concludes the presentation.
Yeah, so happy to answer questions. We're here for any and all. So thank you for hearing us tonight. Sure.
Does he want to come up?
Carla.
Yes, sir.
Come up.
Carla. Thank you. And if you could just sign in after you're done. Thank you.
So you said the average size be 2,400, 2,800?
Yes.
And usually seniors are downsizing?
Yes.
That's a big space for a senior.
You know, it is. I think that seniors will be really utilizing the bulk of the first floor, but I'm sure you appreciate that many seniors still have families, kids that want to come visit.
Right. The average home, understood, 3 bedrooms, 2,800, 2,400, that's your standard nowadays 2023 residential home. I think it's a bit on the large size. Yeah, that's my only criticism. The 18 to 2,200, I still think is pretty big for senior living or 55 and older rather. But yeah, 3 bedrooms I think is too large. I don't think seniors want to see their grandkids that much.
I guess it depends on the grandkids. But thank you.
Anything further from the town board?
When you talked about the sewer capacity and the water capacity, you already had preliminary discussions with our town engineer, if I recall,
Correct.
and he's indicated the capacity for the water, which is town-run, is there, and the sewer is issues for the county, and that's also the capacity is there.
That's correct.
Okay.
And we'll get a will serve later on the water. And remember, as part of the project as well, Toll Brothers is going to upgrade the water distribution system that will serve not just this project, but some of the water community in the area as well. So that's an infrastructure improvement that will benefit the town.
Why don't you explain that a lot? I think there was something that the town needed or was gonna do and pay for itself, but then you can wrap it into your project that'll save the taxpayers. Can you just explain that a little further?
Yeah, and there's going to be some shared cost involved, Darius,
Yeah.
but yes, the Toll Brothers would install, again, just like Baker was going to, would install an upgraded water distribution system. So the piping, can't get into all the details, I'm just not well versed enough in it, but there would be infrastructure that is needed that goes beyond just what's needed for this project. So there's capacity to serve other landowners in the area.
You know, something about creating a loop between Westlake and basically Columbus Avenue Way. That helps with the whole water system.
And I think the pipes are going to be sized larger than they otherwise would have had to have been served, sized for this project.
I don't want to jump the gun here, but often when we're in the community, we're asked timelines for a project like this. Can you just go through that a little bit so that the public understands what will happen and at what point you'll be actually marketing some of these units?
So I'll defer to Jack and Kevin for the marketing piece. In terms of the process before the town, the next step here, not tonight, but at some future meeting, would be for the town board to refer the zoning petition to the planning board, right, to evaluate the secret impacts of the project and to verify that everything that we're claiming about the lesser impacts is accurate. So the planning board and staff will review our technical memorandum and study the project under seeker. At some point, then the planning board will refer the zoning petition back to the town board, hopefully with a positive recommendation for your town board to enact the zoning changes. Again, the zoning map, as well as those two small minor text amendments. Then once the zoning's in place, we'll go back to the planning board to complete the amended subdivision, site plan, wetland, and steep slope permit. So it's a little bit of a ping pong between the planning board and your board that we hope can move through the process as expeditiously as possible this calendar year. And burdens on us to make complete submissions and give your town and your consultants all the information that's required to demonstrate no adverse impacts. So we think we could get through the approvals process in due course. If you guys want to address when might be starting to market and anticipate construction
Just a
start.
comment. We understand that you're pretty much following the same footprint that's already been approved by Baker. You're respecting the wetlands and all those things already, so does that help the process?
Absolutely, because there are no new disturbance areas, our position is that all the impacts have largely already been studied and approved through the Baker project. So our job is to demonstrate that that's the case and that no new impacts would be caused. And this slide here, again, the red and the green are the limit of disturbance lines between the two projects. Toll Brothers is actually creating 3.27, to be exact, acres less of disturbance than what Baker was proposing, with no new impacts to wetlands, and the same wetland mitigation that was previously approved would be implemented here as well.
So it's essentially amendment to the plan that was approved to the, before the planning board.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I had a couple of questions, please. With respect to the 55 and over, I think that's a great idea. That's going to be in the deed, written in the deed?
Yes, there are restrictions that are required to comply with the FHA requirements about the age restrictions.
Yeah, and then the second part of the question
And so
is...
just not to interrupt you, but not just the D, but also the HOA declaration
Yes.
as well. So all homeowners who are taking title to properties in the project will be well aware what the restrictions are.
And there's no school children at all?
There will not be a single school child.
And then the financial benefit for the town and for the school is how many dollars? 2.3 million. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a net benefit on an annual basis.
Excellent, thank you.
Can we just go back to the issue of marketing, please? Timeline. That would-
Sure. So we,
She's anxious to move.
Great work for the marketing department.
I'm getting up there in years, you know.
So we intend to sell this from on-site, from within a model home. We expect that once we have all of our local land use approvals, we will be open for sale inside a model home within a year of that. and it should take us 3 to 4 years to sell the project and build it.
Okay, thank you. I'll be ready.
Anything?
One more question? One sec.
How's it going? Mark Saraceno, Valhalla, New York. Two questions. First is, I know you sort of explained the deed and the HOA. In your experience on building developments like this elsewhere, if you have, I'm sure you have, are there any loopholes that people find to somehow have a full family of 5 or 4 come in? I mean, is it like a regulation that is set by the HOA, but does the town government have oversight over that? How would that work? That's my first question.
So as Brad said, it is in the deed for every home. It's in the community HOA declaration. Some towns, as part of their approval, ask for the HOA to do an annual affidavit or have the community somehow prove out that they're meeting the requirements. But I've done at least a dozen of these communities, and it's really not a problem because the neighbors police each other, and they don't want the school kids. There will be no school kids living here, with the exception of visiting grandkids or whatnot for a couple months out of the year, but they're not allowed to live here. They're not allowed to go to school here.
In the event, I'm somewhat familiar with in Somers, the Heritage Hills complex that was originally built for that purpose, but then somehow over the years changed and that restriction was removed. Under which circumstances would that happen? Or could that happen?
You would have to have a unanimous vote of every single homeowner to change the regulation in the declaration. 100% of the people would have to agree to it. It's not going to happen.
Does the town board have any control over that?
Well, the approval will include a requirement that it remain age-restricted in perpetuity.
Right.
So it'll violate the site plan, and it won't be allowed by the town either. I don't know what happened in Somers. I don't know what their approval was, but also in their deeds, they run with the land, so the plan is that it will be 100% age-restricted in perpetuity.
Do you have a target price yet for the range from the smaller square footage to the larger square footage?
We do not. They will be discounted. We don't know our pricing. Obviously, things are changing in this market. Our prices are going up. The values are going up. But we do intend to offer the units that Kevin alluded to at a discount to the other units to be at a different price point.
Oh, one last question. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
About the zoning change. Was the change from OB to residential approved for Baker? In that case, then do you have to have it approved again as a new owner, or why does that need to go further?
So Baker's project was single-family residential lots. In the OB district, that housing product is allowed, so Baker didn't require a zoning change, right? It has to do with the property abuts other residential areas, right? In this case, the multifamily product that Toll Brothers is proposing is not allowed in the OB, which requires a zone change to a district that allows it, and we think R3A is most appropriate. All the zoning regulations work for the project, except for the 2, again, very minor changes to allow to decrease the distance between main buildings and to allow for an extra parking space.
Thank you.
Okay, great.
Thank you for having us tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Okay, thank you very much.
We'll see you at a future meeting.
The
Good night.
town board will be discussing this further at our next work session, and then we have a public hearing in June, the second Tuesday in June, which the town board will decide on moving this forward, making a recommendation to the planning board.
Terrific.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
They understand.
Yeah.
Tell David to wear sunscreen, all right?
Yeah.
His birthday? David's birthday?
Dad's.
Oh,
Oh, it's mom's. Oh, okay. Wow.
Wow, God bless.
Amazing.
Tell him we said happy birthday.
Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Good night.
Okay, moving on, we have a public hearing to consider a proposed law to add Chapter 43, structures requiring a key lockbox. We've talked about this for a few years. It's been something that the fire departments have really asked for a while, and for whatever reason, I don't know why we didn't move forward with it. But what it is in the case of a fire at a large building, like over the Summit or something like that, and nobody's there, the fire department has no way to get in there to check out if it's a false alarm or if it's an active fire. By having a lockbox, the fire department would have a special key. They can get into the box and open the door instead of breaking the window, instead of breaking the door. It's a lot easier for them to get in. And I think in most of the cases we've had, they've been either a false alarm or a very minor thing, but it would save a door and a window, so by having a lockbox. So this is something that we think is a worthwhile change. I know the fire departments are happy to know that we're doing it. Anything else we have to add on that?
That sounds about right, just the public hearing, if there's any comment. Open it.
Anybody has, you want to read the notice of this?
Notice of public hearing by the Town Board of the Town of Mount Pleasant to consider a proposed local law to add Chapter 43, structures requiring a key lockbox. Please take notice that the Town Board of the Town of Mount Pleasant, New York shall conduct a public hearing at the Town Hall on May 23rd, 2023 at 7:00 p.m. to discuss a proposed local law that will add Chapter 43 to the Town Code to require certain commercial or industrial structures and other facilities to include a key lockbox or at or near the main entrance to a structure. Please take further notice that the proposed local law is available for review in the Town Clerk's office. Please take further notice that at the public hearing, upon said proposed local law, an opportunity to be heard in regards thereto will then and there be given to those favoring passage of such proposed local law and also those opposed thereto.
Thank you. Anyone wish to speak on this is welcome to do so at this time. Everybody in town wants to hear from you.
I object to it on the fact that we already have, Town of Mount Pleasant already has adopted New York State law building codes. We already have it in the 2020 fire code. That's the current code that we've adopted right now. Section 506 key boxes. I highlighted here if you guys want to take a look at it. I don't think we need to pass an additional law for laws that we already have or we already have adopted. It's been in the code for quite some time, not just this code cycle, previous code cycles, and they just need to be enforced.
Was Darius, was it ever the town, did the town ever adopt it? That's state?
Yes. So all of New York State except for New York City adopts the 2020 building code. So I think there's like 9 books: fire code, plumbing code, building code, residential code, and so on and so forth.
Right.
Even the property maintenance code. So it just needs to be enforced. Any code enforcement official can enforce it.
So you're saying the local law is not required?
Correct.
I don't know why it was never.
So
brought up.
where I work, this is part of my job and my regulations. So we already have it, Mount Pleasant adopted the New York State Building Code. That's what we enforce when we do plan reviews, when we do building construction, and so on and so forth. Just needs to be enforced.
Yeah, because I don't see any case in the town where we've required it.
Correct. Well, it's required as per New York State. So when we do have a commercial structure, 3-family or more, industrial complex, warehouse, whatever, when Audi came up, we know where their lockboxes is. Amazon, they're going to have a lockbox, any 3-family or more. It's considered a commercial property. So they're automatically required.
So is this redundant?
Yeah, I don't know enough about the New York State Building Code to see if it's applicable. It is applicable. I have to read the section if it's mandated. We can talk to the building department about it. I trust you what you're saying. We'll look at it. I don't want to look at something in a vacuum here today in the middle of a public hearing. We can keep it open if you want. It sounds like a belt and suspender situation, so I don't know if it's unnecessary, but it's something we can look at closer. And I didn't know we didn't get any comments from the building department on this, but we can definitely talk to them about it in detail if you'd like us to.
My understanding, the building department was pushing it. That's what I
There's-
don't understand.
There's a state law that if you have a building department in your own building code, you don't have to adopt part of the state building code.
Right, you have to get state approval for that, right?
Right, but I think we do have that, so that's part of something we should do.
These are all buildings, existing as well as new.
Correct.
Carlo, may I ask?
Yeah.
In the legislation that the supervisors is stating we will approve or will continue to discuss, there's actually a listing of all of the structures. Now, I'm just going to go through it very quickly to see if it's the same as the New York State. Commercial or industrial structures, multifamily residential structures consisting of 3 or more dwelling units that have restricted access through locked doors and have a common corridor for access to the living units. Number 3 is nursing care facilities. Number 4 is gated residential communities of multiple structures. Number 5, schools. Number 6, houses of worship. Number 7, any structures protected by an automatic alarm system or automatic suppressive system, or any non-residential structures that may be secured in a manner that restricts access during an emergency. And 8, any other structure other than a single-family home that may be secured in a manner that may restrict access during an emergency. Is
Yes.
the state code?
Yeah, and it also
Almost
goes
the
further,
same
the
as
state
that?
code goes further because it talks about maintenance, and it talks about communication with the fire department itself or the fire code official.
I see that
And-
also here.
Yeah, and it also
Okay.
tells you where, how height, where it's supposed to be mounted as well, gives you specific information regarding that. It also talks about for elevators as well. I don't think
You referring to
that's in-
506?
Correct.
What section are you saying is mandated? 506 2.2?
Well, all the 506 where it's key boxes.
I see elevator keys, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
It does use the word may, though. It says may require, the department may require.
right.
So,
So I think it's one of those things we're doing sort of with the construction. We do, the building department administratively sort of requires fencing around construction sites, but it's not a legislative act of the town. It's sort of the same type of thing. We're requiring it as opposed to having it be sort of allowed or required by the building department. So I could look at the statute more closely with the building department if you want.
well, I don't see the damage in approving it.
Yeah.
So Carla, we're supporting what you're saying, which is our
Yes.
methodology is a resolution to say that we think this is important for safety and for firefighting purposes. So it's all positive.
Right.
And we're on the same page. It's just, I understand where you're coming from a technical standpoint, but our hearts are for safety and this
No,
was
I get
requested.
it. We run into situations all
Yeah.
the time. I know this came up, we spoke to our chiefs about it. But it does say that the fire code official is authorized to require a key box to be installed in approved locations. So any code enforcement official, that's from building inspector, assistant building inspector, code enforcement officer, fire officer, those are all state-certed individuals can enforce this.
Yeah, because
If we-
here under,
If we adopted the state building code, but
Oh,
if we
I
didn't,
see.
I don't think we
Okay.
did.
My question is, in your experience here in the town, could you guess about what the compliance percentage
Maybe about
is?
25%.
25%.
Right.
So 75%, we need
So-
to get the word out.
Correct. So when we have calls and we go out in the middle of the night, we do everything possible not to do damage to any of the structures themselves. And it's easier for us to do either a 365 from the exterior, contact if there's a key holder listed with 6 control. And we do have some that are repeat offenders, so we're familiar with what is tripping where. But then we have, like the newer structures, they're all on board. They know it's not a big deal. It's a couple of bucks. They can handle it. But the established ones that are in town that have said, well, I haven't had it for so long, why do I have to do it now? past practice doesn't mean,
So by enacting this, we would require all the existing buildings to have it.
Correct.
well, this one says that it's already done. My thing is this, I get it, I'm on the same page. I just don't want to pass unnecessary laws that we don't need them. It's like, is murder against the law in the town of Mount Pleasant? Yes, we don't have a law for it.
No, we can't prosecute that, though. We don't have the authority to.
No,
pass
I
that
understand
law.
this.
We don't have the authority to pass that law. Let me look at the may issue. I mean, to me, the statute says may. When it says may, the state law, that means it's not mandatory.
It's optional, yeah.
It's optional. If
so
the
if I
word
put it
says
in our
shall,
code,
that's another
we would
story.
make it
So I can
I don't
look at
think
it
it's optional.
closely.
Anything in the state code is minimum code. When we have contractors say, I built a code, that's at the very bare minimum of building standards.
Yeah, the elevator key one is required. Firefighters are required to have an elevator key. The word says shall in 506 2.1. That's mandated.
Right.
So every firefighter has to have a key to be able to access an elevator. But the key box uses the word may.
Right. We also say where key boxes, where required, where access or within a structure or an area restricted because of secured openings or where immediate access is necessary for life-saving or firefighting purposes, the fire code official is authorized to require a key box to be installed on approved location.
Sounds a little vague to me, whereas this code would make it mandatory.
Well, that's what it says, is required.
Has the authority.
It's a little,
Yeah.
I think it's a little gray for me also.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
I think we need some clarification.
I'm still
And I'm
coming back
also-
to 75% of our.
We just need enforcement is really what it comes down to. It's just enforcement.
Well, by enacting this, it would enforce it.
Right.
We already, I get it, but I'm just saying we already have it.
I don't like the may in there.
There's no may. I didn't read the word may. I never said the word may. I said, fire code
Yeah,
official
maybe-
is authorized to require. That's a definite.
Is authorized to require. It's given the authority to the building inspector or fire official to require. For instance, in a site plan, you can say it's required, or when you're building it, it's required. You can say it, and then they have to do it. But if the building inspector or the administrative official doesn't require it,
Right.
I'd have to look closer at the statute and really look at see if there's any law on it too, of how it's being interpreted.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for bringing it to us. Thank
Yes,
you.
thanks.
No, we'll get
Yeah, I'll get it.
deeper
Thanks.
now.
So we're gonna keep this open?
Yeah, I guess we'll keep this open.
Yeah, we should table it for now. right?
Resolution 23623 will table this.
In the meantime, I'll look at the law, Mr. Supervisor, and talk to the building department and any fire officials if necessary. And if it's belt and suspenders, we can maybe do it. If it's not being enforced, we can also propose that to you and see if it's too much, we don't need it, then we don't need it. But it sounds like my read of it, and maybe it's an earlier version or a newer version. I'll have to look closer. I'm on my phone now, so it's hard to tell.
Okay.
Do you need a motion to table it?
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to table the public hearing to consider a proposed law to add Chapter 43, structures requiring a key lock box, until we do further research and analysis, and we will come back with a decision.
And we'll do that for the next meeting. The public hearing will be adjourned until then,
Yeah.
till June 13th? 13th.
Until June 13th.
Motion by Tom,
I'll second that. Thank you, Tom.
second
Thank
by
you.
Lori. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. So on the supervisor's report, we have the authorization to adopt the law. So we will also table that.
Correct.
So do
You need a motion?
Yes.
So moved, the table. The
Tom said a
authorization.
lot more.
All right. All right, I'm going to table the authorization to adopt local law
Peace.
4-2023 to add Chapter 43, structures requiring key lockbox until further review.
Yeah, I like
How's
that.
that?
Thanks, Jerry.
All right,
Excellent.
no problem.
I'll second that.
Second by Danielle.
I
All in
like
favor?
this.
Aye.
I like
Any
this
opposed?
implemented.
Motion carries. Thank you. I'm going to jump along here. We have the honor of appointing a assistant building inspector tonight. Now, I know he has his daughter here, and I know she's not going to be thrilled sitting here all night waiting to hear that her dad's got the job. So we're going to jump down to number 11, and it's authorization to hire Manuel Roberto Quesada to the title of Assistant Building Inspector in the Building Department effective May 10th, a salary per CSEA white collar agreement.
Move for approval, please.
Motion by Lori.
Second.
Oh, I heard
Tom got
Danielle
it,
first.
fine.
I heard Danielle.
Oh.
Second by Danielle. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Welcome, Manuel.
Welcome, congratulations.
Congratulations, welcome.
Okay, moving on. Call for a public hearing to discuss a proposed local law that will add Chapter 68-21 to the town code to require the fencing of construction and demolition projects. What we want to do is clarify this in the code because we do require it, but it's basically been a decision by the building inspector to push it. Now it's going to be required, and there'll also be a requirement to maintain it.
So the public hearing can be June 13th.
June 13th. Okay, June 13th, we'll have a public hearing to discuss this proposed local law. Need a motion and a second.
Move for approval, please.
Motion by Danielle,
Second?
second by Jerry. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item, call for a public hearing to amend Town Code Section 118-8 regarding penalties associated with the collection and disposal of garbage, rubbish, and refuse. We have areas in town where people have been dumping stuff. We've had some signs up, no dumping, but it hasn't seemed to have much effect with some people. So, do we have verbiage on this one?
Yes. Here we go.
Not coming up here, why? You have it, Lori?
Yes, I have it.
You want to read that?
Okay. Notice of public hearing by the Town Board of the Town of Mount Pleasant to amend Town Code Section 118-8. Please take notice that a public hearing will be held before the Town Board of the Town of Mount Pleasant Town Hall on the 13th day of June, 2023 at 7:00 p.m. for the purposes of consideration of the adoption of a local law amending Town Code Section 118-8 regarding penalties associated with the collection and disposal of garbage, rubbish, and refuse. Please take further notice the proposed local law is available for review in the town clerk's office. Please take further notice that at the public hearing upon said proposed local law, an opportunity to be heard in regards thereto will then and there be given to those favoring passage of such proposed local law and also those opposed thereto. Dated Mount Pleasant, New York, May 23rd or 24th, 2023. And this is,
And was there a number in there for fine?
this is all that I have so far. I don't see that there is a number in there for a fine.
Okay. I think we
Ripped it.
were discussing that it was $1,000 fine, but.
Right. Does that need to be in there?
Yeah, that's what was changed. The
Right.
issue was 250 and we redlined it to 1,000.
Right.
That's the last, I think it's E or F.
I don't think, is the local law after that, if you open it?
Yeah, there's a local law drafted after that. Page 2.
No, if you open the attachment. And
But we definitely increased, that's why we do it.
That's why we're doing
Right.
this, because we increased the fee.
The law exists today.
Right.
No, I do not see an
it's not
attachment.
attached.
I remember saying 1,000.
Yeah, we're just
also.
calling for the hearing, but we'll provide it, it's in the, it will be in the clerk's office, it will be online, so we'll have it in the next meeting for you
I
on
remember
notice
reading
also. Yeah, I changed it, I did it to 1,000.
Okay. Resolution 239-23 will establish June 13th for the public hearing.
Move for approval, please?
Motion by Jerry,
Second?
second by Danielle. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on, authorization to renew legislation of Mount Pleasant Hotel Motel occupancy tax. If you remember, a few years ago, we got the Senate and the Assembly to agree on authorizing a 3% hotel tax. The tax doesn't affect us locally, it's people who are visiting or companies coming into town, renting a room. There will be a 3% tax, which will come to the town itself. So, this is basically a renewal of that.
Mr. Supervisor, just so you're aware, and the town board's aware, this law was passed by the state and is valid for 3 years only. So that would expire, I think, in September of 2023. And there's a session that is meeting the Senate and the Assembly to repass this. So we're hoping they'll just repass it, so we don't have to do it every 3 years, maybe it's just forever.
Yeah.
If not, it'll allow us to repass the law to again collect this tax.
They notified us this afternoon
Yeah.
that we had to do this. So we scrambled to get all the paperwork together. You know, you had to notarize everything. The man had to print up like 16 copies. But we're moving forward, and like I said, this doesn't hurt locally. It's a benefit to us to bring in that additional revenue, so we look forward to continuing it. So Resolution 24023 will approve the home rule request to extend the Mount Pleasant Hotel Motel occupancy tax via Senate Bill S7393 and Assembly Bill A7453.
Move for approval, please.
Motion by Danielle,
Second.
second by Tom. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item is authorization to amend purchase order 830-23-05, aluminum fence panels for Palmer Lane Pump Station. This was something that was already approved. Authorization request to amend the purchase order. Change the vendor to Fence Town for the Palmer Lane fence. The second bidder, Fence Town, is now the lowest bidder to purchase 70 spec rail Bennington industrial fence panels, 8 foot wide, to enclose and secure the Palmer Lane pump station. Cost of the fence is $24,887.02 and is to be purchased from Fence Town. This, I guess, is a new requirement from the county health department. Panels are to be installed in-house by staff, late spring.
Move for approval, please.
Motion by Laurie,
Second.
second by Jerry. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Along with that is authorization to amend the purchase order 830-2306, aluminum fence post, access gate, and gate post to Palmer Lane Pump Station. Again, this has to do with the change in the low bidder. Total cost is $15,633.48.
Move for approval, please.
Motion by Danielle,
Second.
second by Lori. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Authorization for street closing permits. Warren Avenue from Lexington Avenue to 320 Warren Avenue, and Carlisle Avenue from Bainbridge Avenue to Edgewood Avenue. See what the dates are here. Warren Avenue, this is from Melissa Murphy, Saturday, June 10th, from 3 p.m. to midnight. The rain date for Sunday, June 11th, for the same time is being requested. Marco Cortina requesting authorization for Carlisle Avenue, Saturday, June 17th, from 12 to 7 p.m. No rain date is requested.
Move for approval, please.
Motion by Danielle,
Second.
second by Tom. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item is consider publishing a request for expression of interest for senior rental apartments for property on approximately 1 acre to be donated to the town as part of the potential Toll Brothers development at the Legion property. The town board felt that if in the event that some of these units maybe had a reach for certain seniors, we wanted to offer an option of having rental apartments for our seniors in that same area. This is property that we will be getting. It's next to the water tanks. The amount of units has not been determined yet. We're looking at possibly 24, 28 units, maybe a 3-story building. We're looking for like underground parking with elevators. So we put out this request for expression of interest, and hopefully we get contractors to submit some ideas to us for that approximately 1 acre property. So Resolution 244-23 will move forward on publishing that request for expression of interest.
Move for approval, please.
Motion by Lori,
Second.
second by Tom. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item is authorization to obtain bids for Phase 3 asbestos water main replacement project located in the Old Farm Water District. This is something we had bonded for a few years back. We did the Usonia area, and part of the Old Farm District has already been done. This is the balance of it, Phase 3, to eliminate the balance of the asbestos water mains in that area. Because things have changed price-wise, as was talked about before, you have to rebid it and try to get some numbers that we could work in to try to keep it within the money that we had originally bonded. So this will authorize us to obtain bids to Phase 3 asbestos water main replacement project for the Old Farm Water District.
I'll move for approval, please.
Motion by Danielle,
Second?
second by Jerry. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item is authorization to define vacation leave credits for Court Clerk Maria Dolores Valdez. We never had a final understanding on this whole thing with the vacation time. The judges had offered a certain amount of vacation time. We just had to clarify it. She was giving 4 weeks of vacation leave credits credited upon her date of hire. It was prorated based on the amount of time remaining in the calendar year between her date of hire and January 1st, 2023. Thereafter, Ms. Valdez
God bless you.
shall be credited with 4 weeks of vacation leave credited each January 1st, including January 1st, 2023, until she either separates from employment or becomes eligible for a greater amount of vacation leave, in accordance with the provisions set forth in the Town of Mount Pleasant Employee Handbook. Carryover and other provisions related to Ms. Valdez's vacation leave benefits shall also be in accordance with the Town of Mount Pleasant Employee Handbook. We also wish to give our condolences to Maria. Her dad had passed away recently, so.
Yes, certainly. Move for approval, please, on this.
Motion by Lori,
Second?
second by Jerry. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Skipping on down to number 12, authorization to provisionally hire Francisco Tovar to the title of bookkeeper in the Comptroller's Department effective May 24th. Salary as per CSEA white collar agreement. This is a long-awaited position for that department. Brian could definitely use the help in there.
Move for approval, please.
Motion by Danielle,
Second.
second by Lori. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item, authorization to hire Dario Salazar Mija, say that right? Mija, to the title of labor in the Water and Sewer Department effective June 5th, 2023, salary as per CSCA blue collar agreement.
Move for approval, please.
Motion by Jerry,
Second.
second by Tom. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Authorization for a spring high school internship and receiver of taxes department, Brian Smith. We love having these interns. They help out tremendously in these different departments, and they work for free.
That's great.
No, they get credit.
They get credit.
Yeah,
That's
credit.
right.
School credit.
School credit.
credit.
Yes. it's a
Graduation
good-
requirement.
Yep.
Very good learning experience for everyone.
It is.
Move for approval, please.
Motion by Danielle,
Second.
second by Tom. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Receiver of taxes report. I don't see an interest. This shows our collections for the month.
Yeah, I don't see the interest either.
I don't see an interest rate, no.
No, I just see,
Hopefully it didn't get in. We have our town board minutes for April 11th and 25th. And right now it's business on the floor. Anybody who wishes to address the board at this time is welcome to do so. The building inspector did ask us to make an announcement that in the building department, they are looking for a foil clerk. Donna Carpentieri is going to be leaving us, not really retiring, but she'll be leaving us, and Donna was very helpful in the department handling FOIL requests. So if anybody has an interest in that, they can see the building department. Be there no comments, move on to our town clerk's report.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening. Nobody else can answer, huh?
Town clerk's agenda, town board meeting, May 23rd, 2023. Public hearing to consider proposed local law number 4-2023 to add chapter 43, structures requiring a key lock box. Received and filed the Town of Mount Pleasant 2022 financial statement. Thornwood Fire District oaths of office for the following: Thomas Olson, Chief; Kevin Dwyer, First Assistant Chief; Matthew Carroll, Second Assistant Chief. From Newcastle Fire District Number 1, received and filed results of the Special Fire District election, authorizing new construction and modernization of the firehouse and offices located at 491 King Street. Minutes of the regular meeting from March 16th. Resignation notice from Architectural Review Board member Marissa Farrell. And one planning board resolution, steep slope permit, 11 Point Place, Chappaqua.
Thank you. Moving on to council reports. Councilman Soliano.
Thank you very much, Mr. Supervisor. Oh, excuse me. My report is the controller's memo. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The following claims are submitted for town board approval from the Justice Court. Carl R. Anderson, Precise Translators LLC. The amount is $6,150. From the Supervisor's Office, Sign Extreme, $500. From the Controller's Office, Office of the State Controller, $85. The categories Building, Town Hall, Clean Air Quality Service Incorporated, OLA Consulting Engineers PC, $6,335.70. From Central Data Processing, Tyler Business Forms, $750. From Special Consulting Services, Industrial Appraisal Company, $1,995. From the category of off-street parking, New York Department of Transportation, $2,690. Public Safety, Daniel Franco, $8,332. Parks, Buglione Plumbing and Heating, $500. For our pool, Buglione Plumbing and Heating and Treatment Specialties Incorporated, $4,255.07. From the category of youth programs, Scott Dooley, $2,629.20. From the Planning Board, Cleary Consultants, Project Administration, $1,000. General Repairs, Peckham Industries Incorporated, Wingdale Materials, Peter J. Landy Incorporated, 3D Industrial, $156,103.23. From the category of highway machinery, Arcal Motors Incorporated, $1,571.20. From capital building improvement, Bellway Electrical Contracting Corporation, Clean Air Quality Service and Company, Gusty Solutions and Company. The grand total is, it's again, same category, capital building. OLA Consulting, Engineers PC, RJG Electrical Contracting LLC, and White Plains Marble. The total for that category for capital building improvement is $41,502.37. From Recreation Capital Project, Charles A. Magnanaro, $19,765. From Kensico Capital Projects, Charles A. Magnanaro, $16,262.50. From the category Special Drainage District, Expanded Supply Products Incorporated, $3,831.56. From the Mount Pleasant Consolidated Sewer District, Thale Industries Incorporated, $1,118.54. From the Joint Water District Fund, PCI LLC, Thale Industries Incorporated, $5,629.81. From Mechanical Water District Number 1, PVS Mini Bulk Incorporated, $1,040.99. From Kensico Water, PVS Mini Bulk Incorporated, $4,542.89. And then from Cleary Consulting, this is Trust Agency Escrow, $3,675. And then gifts and donations for youth, Amazon Capital SVC, $1,504.80. And ladies and gentlemen, the grand total is $291,769.86. It's signed our controller, Mr. Brian Keneally. I respectfully ask the board to approve the controller's memo, please.
Motion by Tom,
Second?
second by Jerry. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you so much. Have a great evening. Thank you.
Councilwoman Zano.
I have nothing on my agenda, but I do have one announcement from our police department. Our police department is currently seeking to hire part-time dispatchers. Candidates must be 18 years or older. They either would have to have passed the Firefighter 101 course or be an EMT. Some in-house training will be provided by the department. If you are interested or know anyone interested, please contact our police department at 914-769-1941. That's all I have. Thank you, and have a very happy Memorial Day weekend.
Councilman Shulman.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor, fellow board members, Mount Pleasant residents. My report tonight is from Parks and Recreation. I'd like to begin with one from John Petruselli from Parks, and this is purchase order 70-23-59. It's to extend the community center sidewalk. The vendor is Peter J. Landy Incorporated, and what they're looking to do is extend the existing sidewalk and install ADA ramp 65 feet long by 6 feet wide to the rear access road, allowing closer access to front walkway from the parking lot. And greatly needed. Total cost is $11,000. Move for approval, please.
Motion by Jerry,
Second?
second by Danielle. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Second item is from Elizabeth Lencellato, our Recreation Supervisor. This is purchase order 70-23-60. This is school bus services for our 2023 camp. The vendor is Royal Coach Incorporated. And again, this is the purchase of hired vehicles for trip buses and shuttle busing for the day camp. The total cost is $94,000. And again, the cost is an estimate based on the tentative trips and tentative number of buses needed. Move for approval, please.
Motion by Jerry,
Second?
second by Lori. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
I have two announcements here from the Recreation Department. First is for Memorial Day weekend at the pool, Saturday and Sunday, town and village residents who are non-pool members can access the town pool for $15 with valid ID. There will be a live band on Sunday from 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock. On Monday, Memorial Day, the pool is free to all town and village residents with a valid photo ID. Second announcement is the Recreation Department is desperately seeking camp employees. We currently have 50 children on a wait list for summer camp, and we would like to get them off the wait list, and we need to hire some more staff to do that. So please call the Recreation Department for more details if you're interested. And have a happy and safe Memorial Day weekend as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Smalley.
Good evening. My report is from Richard Benquit, Superintendent of Highways, and his staff. There are 6 items this evening. The first is purchase order 50-23-12, and this is for 2 backflow preventers. I'd like to tell you that I know in detail what they do, but I just know a little bit about them. They are desperately needed for all the work that we do in the Highway Department. The cost is $5,460 per unit. The total is $10,920. Please note that WAPRO is the only sole provider for this specific backflow preventers. Therefore, we did not have to go with other bids, and they are located on Michigan Avenue in Chicago, Illinois. Move for approval, please.
Motion by Lori,
Second.
second by Tom. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. The next item is from Richard Benquit. This is authorization to release the bond for street opening permit number 6429. The work has been completed and the road restored to his satisfaction. And please forward to the Office of the Controller for release of the bond. Street opening permit was 6429, Cherry Hill Construction Incorporated. The bond amount was $7,200. This work was done at the intersection of Glen Forest Street and Ridge Street in Thornwood. Move for approval, please.
Motion by Lori,
Second?
second by Danielle. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. The next item, again, is authorization to deposit bond for curb cut, permit number 1500, and this comes from Richard Benquit. This has been forwarded to the Office of the Controller. The curb cut permit is in the amount of $360 for Pani Industry for work being performed at 61 North Kensico Avenue in Valhalla. Move for approval, please.
Motion by Lori,
Second?
second by Jerry. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
The next item is from Richard Benquit, Superintendent of Highways, and he is seeking authorization to sign up to purchase through Buy Board National Purchasing Cooperative. This is something new in an attempt to adhere to competitive pricing and to benefit the town and the residents if we can get a better price on items needed in the Highway Department. Move for approval, please.
Motion by Lori,
Second.
second by Tom. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
And the next item is requesting to hire Luke Jonai as a seasonal employee at the Highway Department at a rate of $20 an hour. If it is approved, he will be effective as of Wednesday, May 24th, which is tomorrow. Mr. Benquit is the Superintendent of Highways, and he has made this request. Move for approval, please.
Motion by Lori,
Second?
second by Danielle. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
And the last item is from Richard Benquit. I think he's been a very busy superintendent of highways this evening. It's authorization to hire Nicholas Iacono as a seasonal employee in the Highway Department effective May 24th, 2023. And again, this is at $20 an hour, and he will begin tomorrow if he is approved. Move for approval, please.
Motion by Lori,
Second.
second by Tom. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Have a wonderful and safe Memorial Day weekend, everyone.
Town Attorney?
Nothing tonight.
Thank you. Our scheduled meetings, our work session is Tuesday, that's June 6th at 7 PM. Business session, June 13th at 7 PM. And I wish everybody a happy and safe Memorial Weekend. And I ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Tom,
Second?
second by Jerry. Tom and Jerry, thank you.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.